this time I'll call the September 19th, 2022 County Council meeting to order. I'll recognize the Honorable Robert Winkler from District 3, who will lead us in invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to get together this evening and do the people's business. We ask you for wisdom to make the right decisions on what's put before us this evening. I ask you for just your hand and over our first responders, your safekeeping over all the men and women in uniform that go running to danger when we run the opposite way, Lord. Just thank you for all your blessings every day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you being here tonight. Our order of business follows the agenda, and the next item we have is the oath of office for newly appointed board and commission members. If Stacey Harrison is here, if you would please come forward. Stacey is being recommended for approval for the Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board. Hi, thank you for being here today. Our attorney is coming forward to swear you in tonight. Our council usually doesn't get an opportunity to express our thanks except at this meeting, and we do want to thank you for being willing to serve and to do so voluntarily. You rarely get recognized or thanked for that work, but we can't conduct the business of the people, and we appreciate your service to the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Harrison. Tonight, under appearances, I will recognize Captains Tamara Hogg and Ben Howley to recognize Sergeant Troy Anderson and his years of service with the Sheriff's Department.
On behalf of the York County Sheriff's Office Detention Division, we would just like to say that we appreciate everything that you've done for us here at the Detention Center. Sergeant Anderson has worked 31 years with us, and sometimes it seems like this is a thankless job from the community, but you have given so much dedication and poured your life into this place. So many times that people come in and can't wait to leave, and it's like you just hung in there, you carried the torch, and we just want you to know that we appreciate you and we love you.
Thank you.
Any other?
I do hugs. I don't want
Sergeant Anderson, on behalf of the council, we also want to thank you for your many years of service to our community. You certainly are welcome to say a few words if you would like to. You have certainly earned that right. If you don't want to, that's fine as well, but we do want to let you know how much we appreciate you.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. York County has been like a family to me over these past years. Thanks.
Thank you. We wish you well in retirement. Public forum tonight. We always have at the beginning of our meetings an opportunity for the public to come talk to us, and that is limited to the individuals that sign up at the beginning of the meeting, and you're limited to 2 minutes so that we can continue to move forward and conduct the business of the people. A couple of ground rules. We will listen to anything you have to say. We do not engage or ask questions. Our job is just to listen to you, as long as it's a county issue that we can control and as long as there's no personal attacks, because we can't respond back We just ask that you respect that. When I call your name, if you'll come forward and state your name and give your address, and then if you would be so kind as to pay attention on the screen as to when that top line starts blinking, that means your time is up. And I hate interrupting people, but I have to do that. So if you can do it on your own, that makes it a whole lot easier on me. We start with Arthur Green.
Yeah, my name is Arthur Green. I live on 1623 Garvin Road. My concern is Garvin Road and Simpson Road. The county come in and shut the left-hand side of the fort, and they keep on saying that's dangerous because traffic going in and out, but I've been here, I'm 65 years old. I've been here all my life. I ain't seen no accidents there yet, but my concern is there's a dairy down there, Nance Dairy, and them tankers and them feed trucks will not make that left turn from the far right without getting both traffics. And if that trailer ever falls off to the ditch, it'll turn over. That's what's safety. And the feed trucks coming in, they can't make that turn. And we don't know yet if the fire trucks can make that turn, go down there in Garvin Road to the V, that wedding chapel there now. And my concern is all that wedding chapel traffic needs to go towards Simpson, not go back 321. Because Garvin Road ain't really that safe to begin with. It's windy, it goes up the hill, you got ditches way over my head on both sides. Somebody runs off the road, somebody's gonna get hurt. That's my concern. They don't need to close that left-hand side. And they saying that the Vinion done it and all and everything. My point is, them people moved there. They know there was a dairy there, and they know that dirt road was there. They're trying to change things. And it ain't been no problem until they moved there. I rest my case.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Keith Cooper.
Okay, sorry, the interruption there. So my name is Keith Cooper, and I'm at 1673 Onyx Ridge in Fort Mill. And this is concerning the proposed reassessment of the property at on Pleasant Road. It's at 2625 to 2655 Pleasant Road in Fort Mill. And there's a map on the last page. I showed a rough map on there. And this is case number 22-12. And in addition, there was it wasn't posted on the York County website, but there was, we understand that the Planning Commission had decided to add a condition that there was no left turn allowed on Pleasant Road when exiting the planned development. So our comments, my wife and I believe the proposed use of the property for senior apartments is not a good one, and we believe that the condition
Does he need to step away, or what's the? Lovely.
Sorry. Okay, we believe that the condition,
Mr. Cooper.
Back up a little.
okay. We believe that the condition,
Karen, can you go?
Okay. My wife and I, okay, thanks. My wife and I believe that the proposed use of the property for senior apartments is not a good one, and we believe that the condition added by the planning commission is ill-advised. This will cause a significant increase in traffic on Pleasant Road, which is designated by SC DOT only as a minor arterial road. It's only a narrow two-lane road with no berms along the side of the road. Pleasant Road is already jammed with traffic because it's now being used as a major arterial road between Gold Hill Road and Route 160. In addition, there's a Pleasant Knoll Middle School and Elementary School, Four Season Housing Plan, Whitney Housing Plan, a Legacy Fort Mill Apartment Plan, and other housing that utilize this road. There's presently heavy traffic that backs up a considerable portion of the road during morning and afternoon school traffic and during morning and evening rush hours. We also want you to know that right next to the apartments on the other side of the road, the town of Fort Mill approved a project a few years ago to put medical offices and other type of businesses in the wooded spot.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. I have got your comments, and we are making sure to publish them through the
Okay.
clerk as well.
Okay. Is that
Thank you.
sufficient? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
very much for hearing our complaint here.
Yes, sir.
Hope
Thank you for
voted
coming.
it down.
Jim Jervis. There is no public hearing on this, so if you want to have 2 minutes, you can speak now. Just want to make sure you get a chance.
Yeah, thank you. Jim Jervis, 306 Tinderbox Lane, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29708. I appreciate you all allowing me to speak. I've done a tremendous amount of research. We've spent a tremendous amount of money on traffic studies. Our traffic studies show very little impact. In fact, the traffic study that we conducted, approved by SCDOT and approved by York County, shows that we would generate 26 trips during the AM period between 6 and 9 a.m., 35 trips in the afternoon. I also did some research on two-lane rural roads. Typically, right now, there's 8,900 vehicles a day on Pleasant Road. I live very close by and I'm on that road regularly. Roads are designed, two-lane roads in rural areas are designed according to the National Highway Transportation Board to handle 2,600 vehicles in each direction per hour. 2,600 vehicles per hour. I've got that information I can share with you. Our 26 trips or 29 trips in the morning and 35 trips in the afternoon are not going to contribute to any kind of additional traffic issues there. It's a good use. It's a low impact use, will be deed restrictive, only 55 and above. 80% of our folks will have one vehicle. The other 20% won't own a vehicle. They're not roommates or families or anything else living there. So I ask for support for this project. It's a great use. We have 35,000 seniors that live within a 5-mile radius of this project. 35,000. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. John Ramsey.
Hello. I've been a resident of York County for all my 63 years. The last 27 years I've spent on Garvin Road in McConnell's. And this has to do with the closing of part of the intersection at Garvin and Simpson. It was done with no notice. County just came out, set up roadblocks, put up signs. There's nothing that warns ahead of time. I have spoken with Eric Ricketts and Mike Sabatini. They kind of talk out of both sides of their mouth on this issue. They They told me that they didn't have a right-of-way on that section of the road because it's private property, which means it's private property, they have no legal right to shut it down. Then talking with them this morning, they said that the trucks that coming in, feed trucks, milk truck and all that, going to the dairy, they can go and make the turn on the other side. Well, that puts the trucks crossing a double yellow line into oncoming traffic to make a turn, and it's not a good situation for the county to be requiring people to break the law. The intersection is not unsafe. In 75 years that it's been there, there's never been a recordable accident. The other end of the road, down toward the creek, is dangerous, and the county has refused to do anything about that over the years. The road drops from the edge of the road into a 10-foot ravine with no guardrails, no shoulder, nothing. All this was started by the people that own Meadowview Wedding Venue. They've come in, they've done code enforcement violations on people. They've called animal control about a sick-looking cow. They're just causing a lot of problems. The county keeps knuckling under to them, and it's time it stops. County
Thank you,
council needs to quit knuckling under these people, and Public Works needs to quit knuckling.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. If you could please state your address, I don't think I heard you say.
755 Garvin Road, McConnell, South Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Ellen Stempler.
Ellen Stempler, 402 Garnet Court, Fort Mills, South Carolina. Good evening. I'm here speaking for the Board of the Four Seasons at Gold Hill HOA and representing our approximately 470 residents. I'm voicing our continued objection to any condition that would prohibit a left-hand turn onto Pleasant Road when exiting from the proposed development. This is case number 2212. We're opposed for two reasons. First, this condition will funnel a significant amount of traffic through Four Seasons residential streets. At the first reading, we had a map. We discussed in detail all the roads through our community that would be affected. They were not designed as thoroughfares for high volume traffic. Our streets are old, narrow, and county maintained. Our community was built between 2002 and 2008. The average age in our community is 78, and almost all of our residents still drive. The roads, additionally, there's a Montessori preschool and daycare located on Onyx Ridge. It's within the original development footprint of the community. They have buildings on both sides of Onyx Ridge, and the children cross a number of times during the day to go to various activities on one side or the other. The second reason we're opposed to the no left turn condition is that it contributes adversely to the current traffic situation along Pleasant Road. And something needs to be done about Pleasant Road. Fort Mill has approved projects a little further down Pleasant Road that are significant. 770 housing units, including 232 senior housing apartments which are currently under construction, as well as the Encompass Rehab Hospital, which will have 35 beds, overnight beds, as well as 80 employees.
Thank you, Ms. Stempler.
Thank you.
We
We're
appreciate your
against
comments.
the no left turn.
Thank you, ma'am. Stacy Harrison has put her name down, but I believe it's for the swearing in, and I think I saw her leave. Rodney Harrison. Yeah, okay. Still give an opportunity. That concludes our public forum session. We appreciate the folks coming out and speaking to council on those issues. Do we have a motion on consent agenda?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We move now to old business. Item number 1, rezoning action, consider second reading, case number 22-12, tax map number 65100000027, 65100000436, 651000051 to rezone from RMX 20 to RMX 6, 7.5 acres in District 1.
Move that we defer.
We have a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the applicant had communicated to me earlier about possibly deferring it so he can obviously work with some of the neighbors and work out some of the kinks that have come up recently since he wasn't here at the public hearing last week. He wants the opportunity to work with some of the neighbors on some of the concerns.
Mr. Alder?
Yeah, so, yeah, just a couple things. In regards to this, appreciate everybody's feedback in regards to this location. We are in support of 55 and older housing. I think that's great. We need more in the area. The problem is that's where it ends with this project because the location for it is a very, very not conducive location. There's a lot of reasons for it. If you look down Pleasant Road, you'll see just about 100 feet or 200 feet down, you got a mixed-use business park going in on the left-hand side of the road. You go another few hundred yards down, you're gonna have 700 to 900 new units going on next to the elementary school. You've got 2 elementary schools here on top of that with traffic. Right now, as it is, before those other new projects get in, Pleasant Road is backed up. There's no future plans at this point to widen Pleasant Road now. And so, I'm definitely not in support of this project. And the other point I want to make here is that the lot size itself, if they were just to put homes in there, they'd only be allowed to put in roughly 14 homes on this property. Now, the person purchasing it wants to put 134 units in there, as opposed to just 14 homes. I mean, these are going to be 3-story units, so the density will be much, much more dense. Even though they're together, it's going to be very dense. Based on that, there was also a question about a left-hand turn. Because of the impact on this road, and there was a reason why they had a no left-hand turn to start off with because of the challenge on the traffic. Even if that left-hand turn was removed with the density of the traffic that is going to be coming down that road, they'll still be forced to take a right-hand turn. So again, just want to put those points out here for open discussion. Thank you.
Madam Chair, one more thing.
Mr. Roddy?
Can we get staff to update us on what the TIA said? Because everybody seems to be concerned about traffic, but we have these applicants pay so much to do a traffic study. I would like to hear from staff. Ms. Jonathan, yeah.
Mr. Bono, is there anything you need to add from the last meeting?
No, there isn't anything that we have to add. As part of the rezoning process, some developers will go ahead and do a TIA ahead of time, but it's not required at the rezoning stage. They would do it at the site development stage. So this applicant has done some legwork on the TIA already. We have not reviewed that as county staff because it has not been submitted to us.
So if he turns it in at this portion of the process, would staff be willing to look at it and kind of give us some feedback of?
Yeah, and as part of considering a rezoning application, there are certain things that Planning Commission and County Council can ask for before they make a final decision, and having a TIA done before you make a decision is one of those items you have the ability to request. So we'd be happy to review that if that's a condition
I would like to know what that says before we, at least advance this on, but tonight he wants to defer it, so it'll give you guys a chance to get together and let us know what it says.
Jonathan, I do have a quick question for you. Based on a TIA study, with the future growth on Pleasant Road, with the 900 units, 700 to 900 units, the business park coming in, the mixed-use business park, if a traffic study's done now, it's really not based on real traffic that's going to be hitting that property within or going by that property within the next couple of years. So another traffic study really would have to be done after those other developments would be put in, correct?
No, there is a requirement, there's a set of guidelines for RTA submissions, and they have to analyze for the build-out timeline for the proposed development. So they would have to provide an estimated timeline for when the project might be completed, and the TIA analyzes what the traffic looks like at that point in time. So we're really talking about apples to apples in terms of when that project's traffic impact comes online. So they have to factor in all those growth projections as part of the
Well,
analysis.
right, and I assume that would be your answer, but my question would be if that's not factored in, and then we're adding in these two new projects on there, you can understand where there's a huge concern with the impact and volume because it was never factored into the original TIA.
Can't do that.
That's my point.
We haven't had an original TIA yet. I haven't seen what the applicant has
Okay.
put together on that. yet.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes. Current motion on the table is to defer.
I don't have a problem deferring this, but I will say that unless that developer reached out to the council member from that district, I would think that would be the first phone call. If I were you, that's the first phone call I would expect. And so I don't have a problem deferring this. I'm hoping that the neighbors will get together. They'll show up again. There'll be more neighbors here for the next meeting, and I'm not in favor of this. I'm not gonna be in favor of this. And I don't think just changing that left-hand turn is gonna make a difference in how I vote. So, but I don't have a problem voting to defer it tonight.
Any other discussion? Mr. Winkler?
I'll just say, I usually try to defer to the council member who represents that area, because they obviously know that part of the county a little bit better than I do. I don't make a lot of trips on Pleasant Road in Fort Mill. I stay on this side of the county a little more, so I have to defer to Tom on a lot of that. I do know we need senior housing in the county. So I've been a little mixed on this. I'm glad to vote to defer tonight, for more time to look at it. I am a little concerned. First thing that popped in my head was when Councilmember Roddy said the applicant called him, because he has nothing to do with that part of Fort Mill. So why
Can I respond?
Tom wasn't called is something that, okay,
Yeah,
that
he called
concerned
Tom.
me about
Yeah.
that, so.
He called Tom.
But, I will support the deferral tonight, but I still have major concerns, and Councilmember Audette understands his area better than I do, I think, so.
And just to let you know, we did have a conversation today. Yes, we've talked, and I've explained my concerns already, yeah.
Any other discussion? I will support the deferral, but I share the concerns that we as a council would rezone property. I mean, when you purchase it, you know what it's zoned to allow you to do, and that would be to do 14 to 15 single-family homes. And that's what we were told by staff. And so in terms of making the decision, and what we hear from folks most often is, why do you keep improving things that we can't handle the infrastructure for? And why do you keep approving high density? And how do you distinguish between when you do it here and when you don't do it there? I think that's the concern for me. But I do agree that if there is an opportunity to do senior housing, that makes a lot of sense. If there's a way to reduce the number of units, and I don't know that there's really a way to enforce the vehicles and who uses the vehicles. It sounds to me like that is really not something that the county can enforce when it comes to that. And I don't know if we've done a study of whether or not those traffic counts match what is being represented. I think that would be important. Certainly good thing for the community to meet with the property owner to answer those questions and to follow up, but I wanted to make sure that, in fairness to the folks that are here tonight, that they heard the concerns I have. All those in favor of deferral say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the matter is deferred. Item number 2, rezoning action, consider second reading, case number 22-20, tax map number 61900000020, 022, and 058, to rezone from RSF 40 and NC to GC, 6.77 acres in District 5.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 3, rezoning action, consider second reading 22-23, tax map number 67300000085, a portion, and 6730000 00058 a portion to rezone from RMX 20 to RSF 40 and RSF 40 to RMX 20.162 acres in District 5.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Move now to number 4, rezoning action, consider second reading, case number 22-25, tax map number 71600000002 051 057 069 076 078 079 080 081 082 083 084 and 717-00008. Major PD amendment in District 1.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 5, rezoning action, consider second reading 22-26, tax map number 28200000029 a portion and 28200000059 to rezone from AGC to RUD, 14.5 acres in District 2.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We move now to new business. Council to adopt a resolution directing the York County Planning Commission to conduct any necessary studies and to consider changes to the approved capital improvements plan for the existing impact fee applicable within the geographic area of the Fort Mill School District and associated with the public education facilities for grades K through 12, considered necessary for the proper education of the school district's children, and recommend a resulting amended impact fee ordinance related thereto.
Move to approve without referral to committee.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
What's this resolution say?
Management? Legal?
It says the planning commission is to evaluate a revised a capital improvement plan for the district and the use of the impact fees, and to evaluate the current structure of the plan and the schedule of construction.
Does management support this? And does this result in any increased impact fee or any change in the impact fee amount?
Currently, we believe the impact fee will remain the same.
Mr. Roddy?
Does this in any way affect the money that's already been raised and sitting, that we've been in litigation back and forth with? How does this impact that structure? What are we saying about those funds?
We're happy to discuss anything in executive session you care to talk about.
Well, can
This
we
was
hope-
previously brought before and was
Can we- I like to-
unanimously referred by council, so.
I would like to hold off until after we have that discussion in the executive session.
do we- Let's just go into executive session now. Do we take a motion for executive session to take up this issue? All right. To receive legal advice related to this issue. We will take a brief motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will go into executive session. out of executive session. No action was taken. The item currently the motion is to approve without referral to committee. Any other discussion?
I'll just say I'll support, well, these mics are hot tonight. I'll just say I'll support the resolution because it starts the process to bring things public in front of us, and we can be, at that point, a little more transparent about what's going on. So I'll reserve my comments until that process continues on.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Council to approve award regarding bid number 2835 for the construction of Pennies 4 2017 capital project sales and use tax program project 17228-012 Celanese Road, Cherry Road intersection improvements to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Reeves Construction of Cornelius, North Carolina, for a total cost of $2,745,564.80.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? I would just ask from management, obviously, the prices and the costs to do the roads is increasing exponentially. I would ask that. Is there any comment that management would like to make about that and how it impacts the other projects they're currently on for approval?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if this is news to anybody, but we've had going through a period of inflation right now. We're seeing higher construction costs. We are less than 30% done with the spending for the Pennies 4 roads. The way that these projects work, there's a projected revenue, and then we have a projected expense of these projects. The projects at the tail end, everything's a domino effect. I'm not saying we're going to end with not enough money to do all the projects on Pennies 4. We still very well might have enough money, but the effect of these overages right now make it less likely that the latter projects on the tail end, the construction of that would be done. We're too early in the process to tell for sure. This is something we're monitoring monthly. We have meetings on this every month to look at where we're at. Our goal is to get to a place next year when Pennies 5 referendum is coming out there. We have a good idea of what we expect to be done and not to be done. But this is very early on these projects, and it's a domino effect. The projects that you can't get all the construction complete on these last handful of Pennies 3 projects will roll over into Pennies 4. That's the way they're done the referendum. And the projects at the tail end of Pennies 4 are the ones that would not get done if there's not enough money. Again, too early to say to defend if there will or won't be. Our revenue projections have come in strong so far, but these overages that we've seen, the current inflation, those are our concern and not anything we can hide from.
Does that affect Mount Gallant that was on Pennies 2, then rolled the 3, then 4?
Pennies 2 is, I'm going to say, on a bit of an island. That money is out there right now. Unfortunately, we're in the process of getting that money back to get that project done. So that's a bit of an outlier.
Because whenever I spoke with Mr. Hamilton, I thought that it was on the tail end of Pennies 4 to get completed. But you're saying that would not affect it because it's really money for Pennies 2?
I don't believe, if there would have been any, and I don't want to speak definitively about all these projects because I don't know them as well, Mr. Hamilton, he wasn't able to be here this evening. If that project, and again, I'm not saying that's the case, but if that project is on the tail end of Pennies 4, that would have been it for any overages to roll over into that. I think, we are still not at that point where we can be for sure, not one or the other.
Didn't we establish a system that if a project didn't get completed on the previous one, that it starts out at the top of the next one?
That's the way the Pennies 4 referendum is done. I think every penny, and Michael, you chime in if I get this wrong, every Pennies referendum, those projects are calculated separately. I think it's a good practice if it's a significant project before to carry it over to the next one. However, we've seen that not always be the case. But right now in the projects we've got in Pennies 3, if those won't be completed, those are identified in Pennies 4. And as Mr. Guffey alluded to, Mount Pleasant very well might be as well. So they did account for that in Pennies 4, but that is not a rule in the law, not necessarily a bad practice, but that's not a guarantee.
Wouldn't we be better off on just pulling it out completely and then trying to get it on the new referendum? I mean, if we're
no,
two
sir,
referendums
we're not
going
at the
into
point.
3.
We're not at the point to know that. Next year we will be on specifically Mount Gallant.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I do think it's important and critical for council to know as soon as possible when we can make those projections and have an idea of how that impacts what we've got going on. So if you would please make sure to inform council. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Council to approve providing SCDOT an additional $3,186,281.74 for the construction of Pennies for Progress Project 11149-007, Gold Hill I-77 interchange as outlined in the financial participation agreement.
Move to approve.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Same discussion and same questions of staff. If you could please make sure to let us know. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Committee and other reports. Justice and Public Safety Committee, Chairman Brandon Guffey.
Yeah, we met on September the 14th to discuss update from the auditor regarding the special fire tax districts audit and discussion regarding the special fire tax districts procedures for a bond referendum. We ended with the auditor's going to add some suggestions to the report and get back to us. We also asked management to look at setting up some type of annual audit that we can do in-house as opposed to paying an outside auditor for a budget process, and try to do that once a year. I believe that one of the things that was discussed was that management in the past had something set up that way, and try to set up a process to move forward with. Might not be the same thing, but maybe something new. And then we've asked legal to assist with making sure that we have the right language. And it was multiple special tax districts that asked for the language for a bond referendum.
Thank you, Mr. Guffey. If I could just have the information from legal, if there's going to be I guess a white sheet of how you do the referendums, I'd like to understand that from legal as well. Finance and Operations, Chairman Robert Winkler.
Thank you. Finance and Operations met this evening at 5:15. Present were Councilmember Love and myself. We took up the consideration of applications for service, and we made the recommendation for the appointment of Richard Simone to a vacant seat on the Rock Hill York County Airport Commission. The recommendations for Tiffany Moore, Stacy Harrison, and Ryan Johnson for first terms on vacant seats for the Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board. The recommendation for David Dixon for a second term on the Stormwater Appeals Board. We made the recommendation for Ronnie Taylor and Marion Ramsey for second terms on the Veterans Memorial Park Advisory Committee. On the Board of Assessment Appeals, we made the recommendation for the reappointment of Edward Luxack for District 4 for a second term. And on York County Forever, we made the recommendation for the appointment of Robert Carter to a first term to fill the vacant spot for District 4. After that, we considered allocation of discretionary funds from District 1 for $2,000 to Fostering the Family, and consideration of discretionary funds from District 3 to Galden Monuments for moving the Purple Hearts Monument, and that was for $595. The Auditor's Office presented debt service millages. That's something that's required by law for the Auditor's Office to look at what the school district's debt services are and what it takes to service those debts and pay those debts off. They presented that to us. We had a discussion regarding us having to approve expenses in the budget, and then the way we do it right now is when the money is actually spent, it comes back before us again for us to approve it again. And we had a discussion to look at that process and see if there's a better way to do that instead of it being approved twice through us. So they're gonna get more numbers together to us, and we'll look at it again next month. And then we had a finance update. And as we've seen, unfortunately, we've got a lot of vacancies at the sheriff's office and at the county level. And so we are having a real hard time filling those, and we're spending less than we have budgeted because we can't find enough people to fill all the positions. And then we left, and that was it.
Thank you, Mr. Winkler. Council member, new non-agenda comments.
I'll take my rightful place.
Mr. Roddy?
Some comments were made earlier tonight about, when property owners purchase property, they purchase it knowing what it is and then come ask us to rezone it and that we shouldn't be doing it. I just wanna make the comment that that's a major part of what we do up here. A lot of people come and ask for rezonings, and I've never heard it mentioned that way that, well, you property owners purchase property knowing that it's zoned for this, you shouldn't be coming and ask for it to be rezoned. But that's a major part of what we do up here. We see a ton of rezonings, and when we see planning commission approves it, we see staff signs off on it, and then we come here and we wanna beat it up and interject some personal feelings. We gotta take our personal feelings out of it. We just said to a volunteer tonight that we cannot do our job without those volunteers. The people that serve on the planning commission are volunteers, but people that work for us are staff paid. And when they're giving us their recommendations, and both of them approve, put certain conditions in that we can put in or take out, I think it's so unfair for us not to take some of the advice that these boards and commissions give us, because we cannot operate fully without them. And I think when we start going against both of them at the same time, when one says yes, the other one says yes, and we ultimately say no, I think we're going down a slippery slope, because volunteers are gonna one day say, wait a minute, I'm serving here, giving my recommendation, but then when it gets to council, council just does whatever they wanna do. But we cannot do it we cannot sit up here on Monday nights without having input from a lot of boards and a lot of committees. So I just want council to be mindful what we're asking people to do, to give their time, talents, and efforts to serve on these boards and commissions. And when we get some information from them, I think we need to seriously consider what they've put together and what staff has put together to help us make these decisions. I just want to make that comment.
Mr. Winkler?
I just want to say, first of all, I apologize because I'm about to run out again. I'll be back in before Mr. McCrory finishes. But I want to tell everyone, I've been in and out a little more than usual this evening. Just to clarify, so you know, I'm not acting any more strange than usual maybe. I was bit by a spider Friday, and I've had an allergic reaction to it, and I'm on antibiotics and steroids and everything, so my body's having a little hard time adjusting to stuff right now, so I'm gonna step out again for just a minute.
Okay, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
We're glad you're feeling all right. Anyone else? Mr.
Yeah,
Burdette?
so a couple weeks ago, I talked about access transportation. We're having an RFATS meeting coming up the 23rd. And what it is the Access Transportation Program is a transportation program that's in Rock Hill, but it's currently not in parts of Fort Mill, Tegakay, and Lake Wiley. It's an on-demand service for people that are elderly and disabled. They can just call that number, get a ride through their doctor's appointment, go to the pharmacy, etc. It's a great program. We don't have it in our area, so we've been working hard to get it to our area. We will know by the 23rd in our RFATS meeting if we did get final approval from Columbia for the additional funding. If we do, it's going to be a big announcement because we're going to be able to take care of the elderly and disabled in Fort Mill, Tegakay, and Lake Wiley. Again, want to share that good news again.
Anyone else?
Let Allison go. Okay.
Mr. Guffey?
Yeah, so I've got a couple things. One, you know, as people come up and speak at the beginning, one of the things that stood out to me was we had two citizens discuss Garvin Road and the danger to it. I'd like to find out from staff why that road was closed, whether that's SCDOT, whether that's York County, and what can be done about it, because obviously the citizens are concerned about it. And too many times I feel like we sit here and we listen to people come up and talk, and we can't respond to them then, but then we just sit here at the end, and it's like, well, does it show up on the agenda, or do we actually address the issue? So I want to make sure that we're trying to address issues as they come up. Also, I want to let everyone know, I participated this past Saturday at a walk. It was called Out of Darkness for Suicide Awareness. It was at Cherry Park. It was one of the largest events that they've had, but I've received multiple phone calls, emails. I got one today before I pulled in about a 13-year-old within our community that attempted suicide. So I want everyone, September is suicide awareness, so I'm going to continue to bring this up at every chance that I can during September. There will also be a candlelight vigil at Fountain Park in Rock Hill on October the 9th. But if you're not talking to your teens, please do so. Get out there and see what's going on with them. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Guffey.
I do have one thing I forgot to say.
Mr. Audette?
Yeah, so I just don't want to mention, there was an event that we actually did on Saturday in Ebenezer Park. It's for fostering the family. We had a fundraiser there, which was a 5K walk and run. Again, I want to thank Jonathan for being there. We had a great turnout, a great fundraiser. Kids are in need out there of foster homes, of adoption. And it really opened up a lot of information to people that were there. We had about 8 booths that were there for the event. It was pouring rain, but we had close to 100 runners, so it was a good event. And again, just want to share that with y'all. There'll be additional events coming up next year. And again, a great cause and a great day. Thank you.
I think everybody spoke that wants to speak. I'll echo Brandon Stoll what I was going to say. I do think having 2 folks come up for Garvin Road, I would like to have a response from staff or from management as to what happened in that. I don't think we were aware of a road being closed. If you can send us a memo or let us know. I think we'd all like to see that.
And if I could, that's in my district, and I've gotten a lot of those calls from those people, and I've forwarded voicemails and emails to Eric and to David and all of them. So Eric was out there today, as he said, and he's going back out tomorrow to watch a dairy delivery try to turn in and out on that road to see how it works for that and stuff. So they are working on it. I've gotten a lot of calls this week about it and been trying to forward everything to management. So, and I've asked them to keep me in the loop, so keep everybody in the loop, I guess.
Yep, you got 3 of us are asking for that. I think I would like to understand the process and how it moved forward with closing that and what steps we took in the course of that. Citizen concerns. Sonny McCrory to address council regarding encourage and serve America and the world. Mr. McCrory?
It's good to see you. Sir. I didn't get to say anything last time I was here. I'm not used to sitting quite that long. Anyway, I just wanted to encourage not only our county, but our family of the county. You know, I'm going to talk just a second about Queen Elizabeth. There's something amazing about her that has really been a virtue all of her life. And I thought maybe I might bring it out just a little bit. Of course, she was queen, and she was born in 1926, April 21st. She lived to be 96 years of age. What influenced her life more than anything else was sort of like a virtue, in that her mother spent a lot of time teaching her. And she taught her something very important that I believe in, and that is the Queen really trusted her and had she had a faith and a devout Christian belief, and she lived by that during her whole life. And she was courteous, and one of her most important virtues that she had that I would call the Queen never began to talk or go anywhere with trying to put others above herself. That's a wonderful way to think. If you put others above yourself, you encourage them to do better, live better, and work better. And she ruled with not a powerful hand, but a respectable hand. Everybody respected her. And she was married for 73 years, and there were nothing that ever came up about her doing anything wrong. That's unusual in this time and day. And we all can have the encouragement of in God we trust, and we can live according to the rules of the Bible, but it takes a special person that sticks to it in the right way. Some people don't believe in the Bible, but you know, it's traveled all over the world, and the Bible is all over the world, even in different languages. And one thing that I feel is that it's in every country, and all countries have this same kind of spirit. And they, even when the Indians, they say that when they thought of a power that was great before they even thought about Jesus Christ, before it was ever known. We've always known there's a power greater than us, and I believe that. I think all of us know it. We're kind of small in ourselves. Matter of fact, we're probably worth about $10 in ourselves. But in our spirit, we can have the Holy Spirit or the Spirit of goodness, and we can do a lot for each other, and we can share with each other the goodness rather than the wrong. Matter of fact, wrong leads to destruction. And that has been proven since the beginning. All wars started because of one thing: lies. Some people say our country has become a big liar on a lot of things, but we need to live in the truth, and we need to live in these values. That's what my program is about. I currently have not had a chance to get my program going because I've had a lot of things happen. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But the Queen is called the Queen Mother, and she encouraged faithful living of the English people. And they believed in their faith. There's no question about it. And she stood firm for 80 years. I don't know too many people that I don't think very many people have really been against her at all that I know of. And I don't think, you all probably haven't seen her ever say anything that was destructive. It was always positive. I'm speaking about her now. Our country has changed a lot over the years, and it's become less trustworthy. And, we're supposed to be like a family. We've let our families down. We haven't raised our children properly. The children are not loyal to their mother and their father. And maybe the parents have not been loyal to their children the way they ought to in all things. They need to be encouraged to live in the truth, live in what's right. And if you live in what's right, you're going to be strong. But you live in wrong, it's going to cause war. That's how all wars have started. But anyway, she was like a magical person, a majesty. Like I said, she died and she lived a long married life. She believed in family. And matter of fact, that was one of the best features of England. It lived like a family. But I want to get off from that now and talk a little about encourage and serving in our world. Right now, though, Americans are overwhelmingly feeling very different thoughts about not only our future, but our very existence. And encourage and serve of America can bring us totally back if everyone gets involved in it. One of the ways that we can change that And the only way to do it at this point, we need to come back to the family of work. We need to get out of our houses. I don't stay in my house, I go, and I don't worry about this pandemic. If someone is worried about the pandemic, they should wear a mask and just go on. I don't think we ever needed to be in anywhere because we always feel better outside. Don't you feel that way? I believe that. Anyway, if you wear the mask, it's just as good as staying in the house. And maybe being stuffy might not be good for you either. Another thing that we need to do, we don't have the loyalty to our country anymore. It seems that from the top to the bottom, we're throwing off on each other. That's not family. Of course, you're going to have disagreements, but you love your family. And some people hate their enemies because they make them enemies because they're not living like a family. My program is about a family. It's not just encouraging Serve Club of America and the World.Inc. I believe we have to go to work, and we have to have hope, and we have to have confidence in each other. The only way you can have that is to have trust. The only way you can have trust when you say you're going to do something, do it. That's important for all of us. But a lot of us, just like going to church, we go and we don't necessarily do what we learned in church. But, and I went to church all my life. Liars are another thing that's a major problem. There are a lot of people bring people down by lying about them. And especially people that don't lie, and people lie about them and sometimes even put them in jail, and they've been telling the truth and everybody knows they told the truth, but they went ahead and put them in jail. So we got people in that situation too. We need to encourage people to be honest with everybody as much as we can and get back to the truth. Everybody should be able to live in hope. The only way you have hope is for people to let others know that they can be better than what they are.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
honestly
McCrory.
true.
Thank you, sir.
Pardon?
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We agree with many of them. We have a 10-minute time frame that is set up for comments, and we've passed that point. If you'd like to make one last sentence or two.
Ma'am, what? I can't hear you.
We've had 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate your comments.
I'm happy to be here, and I encourage you to enjoy the night.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion for executive session?
Yes, I move we go into executive session for a contractual matter involving McKelvey Center, for receipt of legal advice and litigation update, and for contractual matter with municipal inmate jail agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We will move straight into executive session. If We are out of executive session. No action was taken. Do we have any motions?
Yes, motion to direct county management and county attorney to proceed in the McKelvey Center work as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Motion to approve the IGA with Rock Hill on the municipal inmate agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You will be shot. We are adjourned.